My new goal this year is to do a community spotlight, and I want to spotlight different businesses, charities, and organizations across the city of Riverside that are doing something amazing in the community. So today I'm at the Arlanza Community Garden, here to see Scott. Scott is the coordinator of the community garden, but the business that I wanted to feature, the organization that I wanted to feature, is Love Riverside. Love Riverside was established by Lynn. So let's go inside, let's check out what they're doing today, and then we'll talk to Scott and Lynn.
This piece of property used to be the fire department for Camp Anza during World War II. Oh, wow. This whole neighborhood was part of Camp Anza. There's a church down the street that's the church. The barber shop across the street was the barber shop for Camp Anza. And then it became a fire department in the 1960s. And later on, it just fell into the city owned it, and then the school right behind us here, they started a garden here in the 90s. And when the teacher that started it left, the garden went into disrepair, and it became a real bad area. It became a place where people came to sell drugs and all that kind of stuff. So a grad student from UCR started a nonprofit with Norte Vista High School called Child Leader Project, and the kids came out and decided they wanted to make this into a garden again. Wow. And they got people from the community. I was one of them that helped plan it and do all this stuff. But unfortunately, like a lot of school gardens, as the people that were really interested in it graduated, it was hard to get people to do anything afterwards. So it started falling into disrepair again. And the city owns this. It's actually park property. Okay. And the parks director was going to take it away. So I said, they give it to the community. Right. You know, if you want to take it from the students, that's fine, but give it to the community so we can still keep it a garden. And so it opened in 2012, and in about 2015, I think, is when the community took over. And during COVID, it had, like everything else, took a dip, and now we're on our way.
Lynn, so what brought Love Riverside to the Arlanza Community Park?
So Love Riverside started in 2016 with community projects all over the city of Riverside. And it was kind of a part-time gig, where we did 2 or 3 times a year. And then when the pandemic happened, we really stepped up our efforts. We saw the community really needed food. And so we started asking the community to donate food, which they were wonderful about, and then we got into food distributions, and we still do food distributions because the need in the community is great. And so then with this particular project, we started as a sub-grantee with the City of Riverside with a program called Neighbor to Neighbor, which is through California Volunteers Office. And it's all about revitalizing communities and reconnecting neighbors again. It's called Neighbor to Neighbor, and it's helping bring people out of isolation, back into community, back into working side by side. And so this was one of the premier projects that we thought, oh my goodness, this little garden here that's almost 2 acres has so much potential. It was full of a lot of weeds, but here a year later, it's come so far. The community's really rallied, connecting again, taking beautiful ownership of it. And so we're here to support this effort, help lead some projects here, and also do other things in the Arlanza community as well as the city of Riverside.
Do you guys have any specific stories or moments that just reinforce why you do what you do? So why you maintain the park and then why you do Love Riverside?
Again, it's all about food security. Mm-hmm. A lot of the people that have plots in this garden live in an apartment, and they don't have anywhere to grow food.
Right.
Okay, and growing your own food is not only more nutritious, but it's good exercise. It's healthy. There's a million reasons to garden that are positive. Right. Taking it from a terrible place, right? Making spaces into places, and like I said, the exercise and nutritious part of it. We sometimes, at one point, we had people doing Tai Chi classes in here.
Oh, really?
Zumba classes, yeah. I mean, and we would teach healthy cooking, have cooking classes, gardening classes, composting classes.
Wow.
So when you can compost at home and then bring it to the garden and pour it in your garden, right? So you don't have to throw everything in the trash. Right?
That's one thing I need to work on myself.
Don't we all, right?
So my heart is all about collaboration and community connecting, and this is a perfect example of that. Our community projects is all about building community again. Our little mantra for Love Riverside is demonstrating kindness, spreading goodness, and building community. And so all of our projects, we don't want people just to kind of do the grunt work. We want people to connect and get to know each other. So we've done lots of different projects. I think some of the most important ones have been working with our seniors in the last 3 or 4 years with food insecurity, and realizing I came into that I'm a retired RN, and so and I did a lot of community work as a nurse.
Also, public health is very important to you.
Very important to me, but I think I came in with a lot of prejudgments of seniors just being able to get in a car and go get food.
Right.
But when we really started, we worked with 19 different senior apartment complexes, and I really saw just how many were disabled or they didn't have family that could come out and bring them food. They were barely making it on their fixed incomes. It was a eye-opener for me, and so I want to call the community to give back in whatever way they can. If they have money, if they have resources, if they have skill sets, if they have access to food that they can donate to our local pantries, or we do distributions as well. It's like we all have something to give back.
Right.
And so my whole thing is, pay it forward, so to speak, right? Blessed to be a blessing, whatever your language is, we all have something we can give. And this is our community. It's Riverside. We love Riverside. Love Riverside. So let's show love in action, right? Let's not just say, yeah, I love Riverside, but let's do it by what we do and how we treat others.
And how can people get involved with Love Riverside?
Easiest way, loveriverside.org has all of our information. They can call our message line 951-374-0807. Send an email, info@loveriverside.org. We're, we just started in 2016. We're still a smaller nonprofit, but we have a big heart, and we love to help and work alongside the people of Riverside. So.
And then you said you had an upcoming project for food insecurity. I know we talked about it on the phone a little bit. Can you talk about it here too?
Well, we have several actually. We're going to be doing a big food distribution for the Arlanza community on July 19th at Bryant Park, along with classes. We're all about disaster preparation. We're all about art classes. As you can see, we've got some rock painting going on over there. Oh no! Oh! The rock that just bounced onto the grass. Okay, sorry.
You're good. Poor guy lost his rock that he just finished
The masterpiece is now coated. So anyway, yeah, we just really try and respond to the needs of the community, and there are many needs of food insecurity. And so, I'm talking with Scott a little bit about even how some people can rent plots and just grow food to help, our local pantries. The need is great. So, and right now in the summer months, they're particularly great for our schools because they're all off now for June and July. So we are going to do a big Riverside. Expect some social media from me asking for hygiene products because we've really been told that that's a big need for families. So probably in the next month I'll be putting out some posts for people to collect shampoos, deodorant, toothpaste, basic things, but the families are really hurting right now. So we're going to get them food, but we also need to get some hygiene. So
our paths have crossed many times in the past. We first met, I think, when I was on the Riverside Neighborhood Partnership when we started doing Neighbor Fest. And I'm on the senior center advisory down the street, and we have the city has a food bank there, second Friday of the month, first Friday of the month. And I've been running a national night out for like almost 15-20 years. And so we've always been in that connecting neighbor to neighbor and friends with friends and going after the needs of the community.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Anything else you guys like to share?
Get involved. That's what
yeah,
I say. Give
that's
back,
it.
community.
Absolutely,
Give back.
yeah.
There's lots of opportunities, and I'm connected with lots of nonprofits. So if this is not your deal, there's lots of amazing nonprofits in the city of Riverside that people can get involved with. It's like, don't keep all those good skills to yourself. Let's give it back to our community.
Not just that, but people have a habit of just volunteering for the same thing every year, once a year, or whatever. It's like there's so many opportunities out there. Spread your wings.
Right.
A lot of people need your help, not just the one place.
Yeah, and there's so many different ways that you can help. Like you were saying earlier,
Absolutely.
it's not just about putting the time in. Maybe you have the resources, or maybe you have the knowledge that you can also share that with the community as well.
Absolutely.
October 11th and 12th is our
My
annual
birthday.
Serve Weekend. Your birthday, come on out and serve. So it's always the second weekend in October. We have our annual citywide Serve Day or Serve Weekend, and do projects.
And we're really
all
just
over.
celebrating my birthday, just so you
That's
know,
right,
but
that's
we're
right,
also going to do
that's
some
right.
work.
Yeah. Both and. Yeah.
Cool.
So thank you for sharing the story of what's going on here.
No problem. Thank you
Absolutely.
guys for
Help
having
us
me. I
spread the
appreciate
word.
Yeah.
I'm here with Jerry. I was on my way out, and Lynn stopped me and said, "You have to talk to Jerry." So, Jerry, could you tell us about your experience here and the history of the...
Well, I grew up about 3 houses from here when
wow.
this was really a fire department.
Okay.
And I went to school over here at Arlanza School.
Okay.
And my mother was always an advocate for women growing up all her life. And so she was part of the group of people that helped name this community, Arlanza. It was part of Arlington, but because it was because this was a camp base. That's the original where they used to get your hair cut on the military base.
I didn't know that.
This was Camp Anza, and so this Van Buren was just built to go all the way out to March Air Force Base. Okay, and that's where the people would unload the soldiers, and every house that you see here is basically very similar because they're all old Army barracks.
Gotcha.
This is where they allowed the poor people to come and inhabit them, and they could take an Army barracks and then divide it and build it the way that they wanted to. So Arlanza was created by using Arlington and Camp Anza. So that's how we got the name. Everybody who was in the military was very loyal to it, but also this was becoming a new community, and they wanted to also include both. My mother had worked in the packing houses where they pack oranges and fruit as a young girl, and she was kind of even a leader in there because she could speak English and speak Spanish, and she took that all the way to to get her at Norte Vista to go back to school, and then to go graduate from RCC and UCR and
RCC, what a great place.
So yeah, I went there myself.
Oh, you
Actually,
did?
that's where I started doing theater.
Awesome.
And my last shows there were West Side Story, which was the first time it was allowed for a college to do it. And
Interesting.
the rights were given to RCC.
And they still do a lot of plays there as well.
One of the people I went to school, I think, is still teaching there.
Jody.
Patty Scarborough. She might have graduated, but I mean, retired.
Retired, right.
But yeah, this is so important for this community to have this outlet. It's one of the communities in Riverside that is the most people dense, and so it lacks space. Right. It is it has the fewest green spaces. Right. So it's so important for this community to have this here. I appreciate it. Part of my journey has been about 10 years ago while I was on stage doing Hairspray. I got hit in the head and experienced a traumatic brain injury and stroke. So this has been part of my recovery. And as I talk to other people here that are working in this garden, a lot of them have issues, not like mine, but we all have our individual issues.
This is a form of therapy for them. Huh?
Absolutely, and what connects us is life.
Right.
This is the true meaning of life,
Right.
So I come from Altadena, where and this is where I escaped to during the fires. So we were evacuated.
Okay.
And I went to stay at the family house. But it's been so encouraging to see the young people to love Riverside all the different groups that have come to participate, because that is how we're going to make a difference.
Have you been tending your mother's memorial garden, or is that?
Yes, I have. Sometimes when I can't come because it gets too, because I just can't come, another lady waters for me. But yeah, all of those things were donated, and when we first put it together, they were by people that loved her.
Oh, wow.
And those roses were planted by her student. I was telling Lynn that my mother influenced about 20 teachers, 20 young women to become teachers. And so one of them is the one that got together with my mother, and Maria, and that's where she started bringing her classes over here from the school and teaching. So they would have exactly what's happening now. This is like almost like a recreation of what would go on with 2 or 3 classes at a time, where the teachers would show them how to garden and also do art projects.
Right.
So,
which they're continuing here because they have some art projects going on while they're gardening as well.
it's amazing. In my neighborhood, some people are going around, somebody is, I don't know who they are, painting rocks just like they're doing here.
Really?
One of the most inexpensive pieces of art that you can make, and they're leaving them on everybody's street. Our street survived the fire, but 0.2 miles on this side and 0.5 on this side is where the Eaton fire started.
Right.
The wind just blew it in a different direction. Otherwise, I might not be here talking to you. My family grew up here. When it opened up for lower income people, my grandfather had some savings, so he made sure that 3 of the family were able to purchase a barracks. And if you go down any of these streets, you're going to see that, like I said, everyone is just I started as an army barracks, and now they've just built onto it.
There's so much history here, and you would have no idea unless you talk to somebody who's actually experienced the history. You know?
Oh,
so it's so cool.
It's great. I wish my mother was here to be able to even tell you more. But she grew up on the east side, and so at that time, this place was not even really thought of until after World War II, after they started building it. But that, yeah, my mother, when she was in the hospital, I pointed to the nurses and I said, "You see that Longfellow School? On the day before it opened, it was supposed to open for everybody. The KKK burned it down."
Wow.
And so the women there, the nurses, they were all Asian. They couldn't even imagine that would ever happen. That was in this past, in this past century that happened. Yeah, but they didn't want any black or brown kids to go to that school, so they decided just burn it down, and that delayed. That was a little delay for all those kids who were hoping to get a new school. But yeah, there is a lot of history in Riverside.
That's amazing. Well, thank you, Jerry. I appreciate you taking the time.